See, I don't need silicone to understand that you poke your chest out with pride. See, boy, you gotta always maintain the pride and the joy you feel inside. And me, I sure wish I could inject something into my butt all the times I was knocked on my ass and I had to figure out how to get up again. See, back then, devils walks amongst you and they didn't know the definition of sin. See, there's something about trying to modify this body of people that we call a community. There's something about looking around you and not feeling like your image is worth it. See, we looked in the mirror at ourselves and all we heard was that we were not good enough, less of. They hung us from trees as if to help us lose weight, but I don't need that kind of noose workout plan. What I need is to be able to take a stand and get fat off the understanding that I can achieve whatever's possible. Boy, don't let anybody tell you that you can't be what you want. I sat there listening to my grandfather. I said, okay, well, I understand how people were restructured, how they got certain fixtures put on them after going through so much battle and turmoil, that maybe those nose jobs that allowed them to turn their noses up at the people who said they were less than them, maybe fixing those jawbones so they could stand a little stronger, maybe fixing that gait so they could walk a little better, maybe that all happened post-Reconstruction. So tell me how we go into this new century. He said, I remember a time when people came back from war, walked into a city called Harlem and started something special. It was beautiful. It was beautiful because in their hands they held the promise of being superstars. Happy to hold a pen, stroking it back and forth until it spewed on the page. I remember when people thought about culture, they thought about music and jazz, put their finger on a note and tickled it until all that came out was melodious harmonies. I remember a time when nipples were the hope of a young generation, waiting to be suckled until all of the inspiration in them was sucked out. I remember a time where touching yourself was getting in touch with the inner you. Boy, tell me what you got inside. I know you've been spending hours in that bathroom, but I want to tell you what it's all about, because see, I want you to start to masturbate the thoughts inside of your head. Keep your hand out from in your legs, and maybe you'll be something special. Because I remember a time when I didn't need a partner. All I needed was me. Me to feel proud about myself, put on my zoot suit and step right on into the Cotton Club, and that's all I needed to see was black people living their lives beautifully. See, I remember a time, past the depression, past the running hooch, past the stump hole and people who like to walk around in them crazy suits, top hats, and I remember a time where I walked from Montgomery to D.C. I remember a time when raising a black fist meant something to me. I remember a time when they said, hey, we'd never have a black president, but those people were liars. The images in those books are liars. The jokes on these TV stations are liars. The people standing in front of you are liars. You are no less of this American history than any of the other pages in that book. You are no less an amazing example of God's divinity than anything that you see in those sitcoms. You are no less of anything special than any of the missing pages in that literature. You